Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I have leftovers to use up again, and I'm going to do something a little bit familiar but a little bit inventive as well, I hope anyway. So today I'm going to make a Cornish style pasty but with lamb. So I have some vegetables to use up of Easter. I need using, so I'm doing two videos today. So with a traditional Cornish, it's usually beef, carrot, swede, uh, but instead I'm going to use lamb, carrot, parsnip, and a bit of potato. So it's going to be a little bit different, but in theory it should be great. So let's look at what we've got. So I want to be local butchers, and I've got this lamb shoulder steak. Now this cost me about £6, but I'm actually only going to use about half of it. The other half I'm going to use for a different recipe. So lamb shoulder is generally about two-thirds the price of lamb leg. It's a bit fattier, but that's fine for what we're doing. We have carrots. They cost me 4p for the big bag, but they need using now. I paid 4p for the parsnips as well, need using. I think I paid like 10, 15p for the potatoes, and I've got loads of them still. I've also invested in onion. This cost me a grand total of 18p, and I'm only going to use about half of it for this recipe. So what we're going to do is I'm going to dice everything down fine, get these peeled and so on. I'm going to cut the lamb into very as thin as I can imagine, as I can manage strips. Now I've had this in the freezer for maybe half an hour, so it keeps its shape when I cut it. So I'm going to do the prep off screen. It won't take as long, but I'll show you what we've got when we get back. So join me shortly. And welcome back. So I've done all my prep. The carrot and parsnip are quite small. It's mostly carrot, but that's fine. Onion is quite raggedly cut. That's fine because I'm going to slow cook that, and it will go soft and so. Potato into little pieces and slices. The lamb in thin bits. So what I'm going to do now, normally with a Cornish pasty, you just put everything in the pastry and you bake it, drop down. With this, because it's quite fatty meat, I want to get some of the fat rendered. I also want to take a little bit of the edge off the root veg and the onion. I'm going to slow cook the onion. So anyway, I've been preheating the pan. I'm going to just drop a little drop of oil. Hopefully, won't need a lot. Was a bit more than I intended, but so be it. And I'm going to maybe do this in two batches. Let's see. I will get a sizzle one. Oh, there it is. A little bit of a sizzle. We'll just talk a little bit about seasoning as we go. So I'm not going to overdo this because I want the lamb. I want it to taste of lamb. So the only seasonings I'm going to use is a bit of salt, dried mint, and black pepper. Now, I would use fresh mint if I had it, but I don't. Simple as that. So, I'm going to put a little bit of salt on immediately. What I need to stop myself doing is overworking this and just let the fry get on with it. So yeah, so I just want a bit of colour on it, and then I'll put the next batch in and so on. Hopefully, by the end of us doing the lamb, there'll be a good bit of fat in here, which I can then do the onions in. So I don't want to. And ultimately, this is just get a little bit of a browning on it. It does make a difference, I feel. Like if I was doing a steak pie or something like that, I'd do the same. So by cutting it this way, you're almost getting like a shawarma effect. So I'm hoping that every bite will have some lamb and some of all the other ingredients. It should be a nice taste. So that's the whole point. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the last few seconds in the pan, just drop a little bit of mint on. That's probably a bit more than I needed, but when you get down to this, just flavour. Okay, so for the next bit, I'm going to turn the heat down a bit. I'm going to add, again, a touch more oil. Just a touch. Now we're going to add our onions. Yeah. Seasoning wise for the onions, yeah, I'm just going to pop a little bit of salt on, but I'm also going to add some Worcestershire sauce. I feel like with onions, anything you're caramelising, it's something that works really well. The onions will suck up the flavour. It'll just give them a little bit of extra flavour. Okay, the onions are as cooked as I need them at the moment, so I'm just going to get these out. All this was to do was to take the crunch off them, really. So let's get them out. And next we'll get the carrot and parsnip in. Again, we just want to take the crunch off them. Okay, so we're back. I've cooked the carrots for a good 6-7 minutes, just to take the edge off the crunch, just to make sure it cooks through fully when I do the bake. Now I did change my mind partway through, and I did add a little bit of salt, just a little bit. What we're also doing here is by cooking this off in advance, we're taking some of the moisture out. And when you're working with pastry, moisture can be a bit of an issue. Okay, so final pan part. Here's the potatoes. And as before, just get that across the pan. Try and actually burn these off a little. I'm just trying to get them flat so I got all the heat into the potato itself. And we'll just let that cook. Alright, now it's time to start doing a bit of pepper. These potatoes are done as I want them. I want the peppery layer to be where most of the pepper is. Sorry. I think the potato layer is where I want most of the pepperiness to be. So I am actually going to put a little bit on the lamb as well. Just a little. Now, I put the pepper in last because I don't really want it burning on the pan. Sometimes that's a bit of a risk. So I'm only going to do it for maybe like 30 seconds in this pan. So the colour's coming off there because of the pepper and a little bit of the catching on the pan. Not burned or anything, just a little bit of a burning, which is what I want. Yeah. So there's all of our ingredients for the inside of the pasty done. Or at least partially done enough for me to do the pasty in a moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this cool just for a few moments, maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Then we'll come back and we'll start assembling our pasties. I am going to be using shortcrust pastry. Obviously, you could make it yourself, but ain't nobody got time for that, as a wise woman once said. Back soon. Okay, welcome back. So everything's cool. Even allowed the pastry to chill a bit, and I kind of need to decide how many I'm going to make. Now, each of them is supposed to be my lunch, so I think I want to make 4. Just cut down the middle again. I don't feel the need to make these traditional shaped Cornish pasty because this isn't a Cornish pasty. It's Cornish inspired pasty. What we'll do is we will layer this up. I'm just going to get a little spoon, I think. What I want to do is one nice layers. So I'll go here want to put it from about halfway. So we're going to be folding everything over at some point. So, potato. And I'm thinking I probably shouldn't have done as much potato as what I have. Go for some onion. Some of the carrot and parsnip. More. And finally some of the meat. Yeah, I've definitely done way too much filling. I want to pack it in a bit. And the meat's the star of the show, really, isn't it? I want plenty of that in. And then we need to make sure we can fold it and then crimp it. Okay, no need to scrimp on the airbrush. Then what we'll do, there's still a lot of moisture in here, so I'm going to make a little bit of a hole just to make sure somewhere for the steam to go. Now, I'll do the others in a moment. I'm going to have lots of ingredients left over, unfortunately. And I want to bake these for about 20 minutes, I think. So I'll get these in the oven. Well, I'll get the others made, then I'll get these in the oven, and we'll come back after they've cooked and they've cooled. And welcome back. So here's our final product. One of these has already been removed, but I did have 4 good pasties. I've allowed them to cool. Generally, you would get the cooler pasty. Base of the pastry is good. Cooked all around. It did split a little bit, but I think I overfilled it. You can see in this one it was a bit better. So you can see the inside. We've got fairly distinct parts. We've got a carrot there, a lamb, potato, and onion. It's kind of what I wanted. I wanted it to be like in sections. So let's give it a try, shall we? Yeah. So first thing I get is the sweetness of the onion. I think slow cooking that with the Worcester sauce was a good idea. There is a richness coming through. That's from the fat on the lamb. By putting the lamb on the top, as it cooks, the fat will seep into everything. The lamb flavour does come through well. Nice and rich there. I am getting a bit of the mint on the lamb. In hindsight, I could probably use a little bit more. I would have liked a bit more pepper. I think I've underdone that. I played it too safe again. I need to get out of that habit. But yeah, this is good. Yeah, you can pick it up by its little handle. So if you want to discard, it'd be fine. I just had a second bite there, and the pepper came through well. Maybe you need just a little bit through it. Mix it in a bit more. Hmm. If that was an option in like a baker's or I don't know, a supermarket, I'd get it. Minty lamb pasty with minty root veg pasty. What would you call this? A minted lamb root veg pasty, Cornish style. I don't know. What would you tell us? Put in the. What would you call it? Put it in the chat. But yeah. So again, this is dead cheap, using leftovers and cheap cuts of meat. The whole lot for the 4, £5 maybe. Bit of effort, and I'll be honest, I had way too many carrots and potatoes. That could have been saved out. Good job I'm cooking again in a few moments. But I definitely worth a go. Obviously, you can save a bit more money by doing your own pastry. Probably get a richer one as well. And one thing I've seen in Cornish pasties when I was looking at recipes, which I didn't do because I thought it was a fatty meat, was they put little bits of butter within, and it almost makes its own sauce when it cooks. In hindsight, I probably should have done that, and I think that would have given it even more richness and would have tied everything together. But anyway, live and learn. Pretty much everything I'm cooking for the first time on this channel. So please, if you like what you see, give us a like, give us a share me page, like me page. I mean, if you subscribe and costs nothing, and I do appreciate every subscriber. Hit 50 today. And yeah, please comment, let us know what you think, and I'll see you next time. Bye.